Mazaleni. Tell us what you're made of. Tell us what you're made of.
So for those of you who don't know, Qhawekazi Mazaleni, I am originally from a small village called Etudwa, Efalakahle, and and I grew up in Mondi. But currently I am a qualified speech therapist and a master's student. But I'm also a self-published author, and I always think about the story that led to me being a self-published author. So in university, I was training to become a speech therapist. And in my training, I started realizing that a lot of the times when I was having therapy sessions with children, it was so easy to get books in English and in Afrikaans to be able to do the therapy with them. Until one day, I got this child who was 9 years old, beautiful little Xhosa-speaking girl called Usinenhlanhla. And initially, when we started doing the therapy sessions, we tried with English books, but there was just a bit of a lack of engagement because the language we're speaking wasn't one that she could see herself represented in. And so I went back to Res, and on my little computer, I opened up Canva, I put together this makeshift book with a picture of Usinenhlanhla and these frogs that were jumping, and all I wanted for her was for her to be able to count to 6 and to be able to know that the colors red, green, and blue. I stapled this, I ran over to the library, printed it out, stapled it, and when I went to Prax the following day, the way she lit up and started engaging, because for the first time she was able to be represented in the books that she was reading. And it just speaks to the power of representation, and it's something that I hold quite dear as Miss South Africa, making sure that I am representative of the young girls within the country. And especially within education, the foundational stages of education is where a child almost predicts their future success. And so if we're able to make it inclusive for them, then it allows them to thrive more. And the more I did research on it, the more I saw that when children have when children have access to education in their home languages, it allows them to understand concepts much better and to grow more. And so that's what almost planted it in my heart to be able to move forward and self-publish my book. So I later self-published that book and I entered Miss South Africa. And I always think it's so beautiful, Dr. P, that I entered in a year when we were moving into a new era. Because with Empower Youth Africa, it wasn't just a focus on what am I doing this year, but it's a focus on how can we, as the youth, launch initiatives that focus on scalable and sustainable changes, rather than just short-term temporary solutions. So it's such a privilege for me to be Miss South Africa this year. And even now, as I speak, we're in the process of translating my book into more South African languages, so that more children are able to have that access to education. And it's something that the government is also pushing on their end. And I think it's so beautiful when we see collaboration between our individual selves and also systems that are bigger than you, but just seeing how, where you are, what changes you can make to almost reach the changes that you want to see on a bigger scale.